Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
So, we all kind of know that feeling, right? You look at your workout plan for the week. It's all neat and tidy. Monday, leg day. Tuesday, arms. Maybe Friday, you hammer the core. In this crazy busy world, it feels, well, manageable. It gives you a clear mission for that hour you carve out.
Yeah, it's definitely efficient for scheduling. I'll give it that. But here's the real rub. While you're busy training parts in isolation, your body, it's designed purely for integration. So this whole compartmentalized thing, this idea we can just, pick a muscle and work only that, it fundamentally clashes with how we actually move day to day.
And that's exactly what we want to challenge in this deep dive. Our mission today is really to unpack this whole philosophy of integrated movement. We want to understand why looking at the body as just a collection of separate parts might actually be undermining its overall strength and even its longevity.
Absolutely. And we're drawing on some great insights here, looking at sources that really detail the synergy of movement. Folks like Alexandra Kash, she's a certified personal trainer and behavior change specialist. Her book, Longevity Through Physical Activity, The 15-Minute Habit, is particularly relevant. The goal isn't just to knock leg day off its pedestal, It's bigger. It's about redefining what real strength actually means. Like Kash says, true strength and vitality come from integration, not isolation.
Okay, so let's start right there with that foundation. Movement versus muscles. We're kind of obsessed, aren't we, with results we can see, like toned arms, defined abs. But focusing just on that look often makes us forget that the body is engineered for fluid, coordinated action, not just, flexing one muscle in the mirror.
That's the critical thing to grasp. Your body doesn't recruit muscles one by one. It recruits movement patterns. Katrash uses this brilliant analogy. She says, the body's like an orchestra. Right? Not just a bunch of soloists. If you only practice the violins over here and the trumpets over there, sure, they might sound okay alone, but ask them to play a complex symphony together. The performance becomes fragmented, inefficient, maybe even a bit messy.
And that inefficiency, that's what can lead to problems down the line, isn't it? Dysfunction. We talk about muscle memory, but maybe the real truth is, like you said, the body doesn't think in muscles. It thinks in movement. It remembers the coordination patterns.
Exactly right. When you, say, left a heavy box, your brain isn't sending out 17 different little memos to 17 muscles. It sends one integrated command.
Yeah.
Hit this thing. So if all your training time is spent isolating, you're just not practicing those crucial communication lines that let your body work smoothly and react fast when life throws you a curveball.
Okay, but I feel like I should push back a little here just for balance. Doesn't isolation training have specific use? Like, what about rehab after an injury? Or, bodybuilders going for extreme muscle growth? How does that fit in?
Oh, that's a totally fair point.
Sure.
And yes, absolutely. Isolation definitely has its place. In physical therapy, you might need to target a very specific weak muscle. Or in bodybuilding, the goal is maximum size of individual muscles. But for the vast majority of us, maybe 99% of people listening, whose main goal is being resilient, moving well, feeling good long-term, basically, longevity isolation builds a kind of specialized strength that doesn't always transfer well to the sort of messy reality of everyday life. We're built to be generalists, really, not hyper-specialists in movement.
That clicks. Okay, so if the body works as this coordinated system built for general movement, we need to get specific about how it's all connected, that kinetic chain concept. Let's dig into that, the unified mechanism.
Right. Think of your body like maybe an old school mechanical watch or even a complex machine. Inside, you've got all these tiny gears, springs, levers, all precisely calibrated to work together. If just one tiny little cog is weak or fails, the whole watch stops working properly. Our bodies are kind of the same. No muscle truly ever works completely alone.
So the kinetic chain, that's the sequence, the way forces travel through the body. Like from your foot hitting the ground all the way up.
Exactly. It's how force gets transferred from the ground up or maybe from your hands down, depending on the action. Every single movement starts somewhere, travels through a series of connected joints and muscles, and ends somewhere else to flow.
Can you give us a really simple, everyday example?
Sure. Let's take standing up from a chair. Seems simple, right? Most people probably think, oh, that's my quads working. Mm-hmm. But look closer. Your feet have to push into the floor to generate force. Your legs provide the main push, yeah. But your entire core, your abs, your back, your hips, has to instantly stabilize your torso so you don't just flop forward or wobble side to side. And even your upper body subtly shifts to counterbalance everything. It's a whole body event.
Okay, so what happens if one part of that chain is weak? Like, say, the core, which, let's be honest, is pretty common for a lot of people.
That's where things start to go sideways. If the core, that central gearbox in our watch analogy, can't stabilize properly, well, that force has to go somewhere. The joints next door, like your knees or your lower back, get forced to pick up the slack. They end up doing jobs they weren't really designed for, taking on extra load, movement after movement, day after day, and over time, that often shows up as chronic pain, stiffness, or eventually an actual injury.
Right. So the weak link makes other parts overwork and wear out faster. That's a really clear critique of just doing, say, isolated quad extensions at the gym. You're strengthening the quads, but maybe ignoring the core support they absolutely need to function safely in real life.
Precisely. Life doesn't serve you up a quad day. Life serves you up climbing stairs while carrying groceries, or lifting a wriggling toddler, or pushing a heavy door open. All of these things demand multiple muscle groups firing together instantly, often while resisting forces coming from weird angles. Training in isolated chunks just builds fragmented strength that kind of falls apart when you need that real-world integrated resilience.
Okay, so if traditional training often keeps us moving in these unnatural straight lines, we must be missing out on other ways the body is meant to move. Which brings us neatly to the next big idea, training beyond straight lines, the 3 planes of motion.
Yes, absolutely. This is huge. A major blind spot in a lot of conventional exercise is its laser focus on the sagittal plane. That's just forward and backward movement. Think running straight ahead, doing standard squats, lunging forward. It's fundamental, sure, but it's only like 1/3 of the story of human movement.
And for resilience, for being able to handle unexpected things without getting hurt, especially as we age, we need more than just forward-backward strength.
They absolutely need to move efficiently and powerfully in all 3 planes of motion. Let's quickly break down the other 2 for everyone listening. They're often neglected.
Okay, we've got sagittal forward and back. What's next?
Next up is the frontal plane. This is all about side-to-side movement. So think lateral lunges, side shuffles, even something like a standing overhead press where your core is working hard to stop you from leaning sideways. The frontal plane is crucial for stability and, honestly, for protecting yourself. Like if you step awkwardly off a curb or you start to trip sideways, it's the muscles and the neural pathways trained in that frontal plane that kick in instantly to catch you. If you haven't trained them, your risk of a fall goes way up.
That makes immediate sense. Okay, and then the third one, the one I feel gets forgotten the most, but maybe captures dynamic life the best.
That would be the transverse plane. This is all about rotation, twisting, turning, throwing, but also resisting rotation, which is just as important for stability. Every time you reach across your body for the seatbelt, swing a racket or a club, or even just turn quickly to look behind you, you're moving in the transverse plane.
And why is training rotation specifically so vital for, say, longevity?
Because so much power generation and transfer in real life involves rotation. Running isn't just forward, there's a subtle twist. Throwing a ball is almost all rotation. Lifting a heavy bag from the floor to put it on a shelf often involves a twisting motion. If your core doesn't have that rotational strength and control, every time you twist under load, that force goes somewhere. It shouldn't off to the lower back. Think about an exercise like a wood chop, maybe with a resistance band or a weight. You're moving diagonally, right? Hips, core, shoulders, back, all working together, transferring force across multiple planes. That single type of movement builds a kind of connected, multi-directional strength that doing straight line squats or presses just can't replicate.
The consequence of neglecting this stuff seems huge then. You hear about athletes strong in a straight line who tear an ACL the moment they have to cut or pivot sharply.
Exactly. Their bodies are conditioned for the highway, but not for navigating city streets. And that applies to all of us, not just athletes. Lacking strength and coordination in those side-to-side and rotational movements makes us less able to react quickly. When we talk about training the nervous system dynamically, that's what we mean. Teaching your brain and muscles to talk to each other instantly across all these different directions. So you get those fast, strong, protective responses when you slip on ice or stumble over something.
Okay, that shift from just building muscle size in isolation to training these dynamic brain-muscle communication pathways feels like the real game changer here. But it brings us to maybe the biggest practical hurdle for most people, time, or the lack of it. We're constantly told effective workouts need, an hour, maybe more. How does integrated training fit in?
The time scarcity barrier. It's probably the number one reason people aren't consistent. And honestly, it's largely a myth built on that old inefficient isolation model, which leads us perfectly into the efficiency of integrated workouts.
Right. The source material, especially Alexandra Kash's work, makes this bold claim. A well-designed 5 to 15-minute full body session can actually be as effective, maybe even more effective, than much longer traditional workouts. How is that even possible? What makes those few minutes pack such a punch?
It really boils down to smart movement selection. Choosing exercises that are multi-joint, multi-plane compound movements. We're talking maximum bang for your buck. When you do something that demands your hips, core, back, and shoulders all work together simultaneously, think of a kettlebell swing or a squat to press or even a Turkish get-up, you're recruiting huge amounts of muscle mass all at once.
So you're maximizing the work done with every single repetition, essentially.
Precisely. You're lighting up the entire kinetic chain in one go. This does a couple of things. It dramatically increases the metabolic demand. When we say metabolic demand, we just mean how much energy your body has to expend and the hormonal signals it sends out. Engaging all those big muscle groups together tells your body, whoa, major effort required. This leads to a much higher calorie burn, both during the workout and afterwards, compared to just doing bicep curls.
So those 15 minutes aren't just a compromise because we're busy. They're potentially a better strategy because they align with how the body's actually designed to work all together. What are the key sort of tangible benefits people can expect from training this way?
You see at least 4 big wins pretty quickly. First, obviously, greater functional strength and stability because you're training the whole system, not just isolated parts. Second, genuinely better coordination and balance. You're forcing your nervous system to get really good at managing complex movements across different planes. Third, improved cardiovascular efficiency. Keeping your whole body moving continuously, even for 10, 15 minutes, makes your heart and lungs work way harder than resting between sets of isolated exercises.
And the fourth, the big one, is the time efficiency. It makes being consistent actually feel achievable. It takes away that mental block of needing a whole hour.
That efficiency is profound. I really like closing this idea with the analogy of the body as a bridge. Think about a suspension bridge. Its incredible strength doesn't come from one single massive pillar, right?
Yeah.
It comes from that whole network of interconnected cables and supports all working together to distribute the load evenly, synergistically. Integrated training helps build that kind of structure in your body. It shores up potential weak links, making the whole system more resilient to stress and less prone to breaking down later on.
That is a really powerful way to reframe it. It's a definite paradigm shift. We're moving away from this workout culture focused purely on looks, on isolating muscles, and moving towards training that prioritizes function, resilience, longevity, really.
Exactly. It fundamentally redefines what strength means. It stops being just about the number on the dumbbell for one specific lift. It becomes about how efficiently you move, how well your body adapts to dynamic, unpredictable situations, and how good that communication is between your brain and your muscles when things get challenging.
So a short, intense, integrated workout isn't just settling for less because you're short on time. It's actually an optimization based on how we're mechanically built. And the simple takeaway here, like Alexandra Kash puts it so well, is that efficiency isn't about doing more, it's about moving better.
Exactly. When you start prioritizing synergy over separation, connection over isolation, you really begin to unlock your body's amazing potential for moving gracefully, powerfully throughout your entire life.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.